All right, so Janice Dean's talking about Melissa DeRosa there. She's a high-ranking official in New York's Andrew Cuomo's administration, the governor's administration. And DeRosa's now trying to walk back comments after admitting that the state withheld data on COVID-19 nursing home deaths. Steve Forbes is here, Forbes Media chairman. And by the way, Janice, for people who don't know, lost both of her in-laws in New York nursing homes to COVID. Your reaction to this latest story, which came forth, I believe, last night in the New York Post report, Steve?
Oh, it's one of shock, but no real surprise. It was evident last May that a ghastly mistake had been made in New York. That executive order was signed around March 25th, not rescinded until early May. And so even though the evidence was there that putting people from the hospital infected in nursing homes led to thousands of unnecessary deaths, from the get-go, this administration's tried every excuse in the book to cover it up, blame it on others, to blame it on Trump again, I think was the last one I saw. Unfortunately, similar mistakes were made in parts of New Jersey, Michigan, Illinois, California, Massachusetts, and elsewhere. So tens of thousands of people died unnecessarily. But the real scandal is once they knew this was happening, they didn't react quickly to stop it and then try to cover it up, at least in New York.
Right. That was it. They thought it would be used against them, is what apparently she initially said, now claiming that when they got an inquiry from the Department of Justice, they had to deal with that federal inquiry first before going on to state issues. I mean, I don't know if that is something that people will be satisfied with or not. I mean, Congressman Tom Reed, who's from upstate New York, was on Fox Business earlier saying he's going to file a criminal complaint or plans to. You think it should go that far in a case like this?
Well, certainly in the civil side, although I think New York passed a law saying decisions made on COVID they would largely be immune to them. So we'll have to see how this all sorts out in the courts. But the key thing is, when did they know this was a disastrous mistake, and when did they respond to it? Because very early on, everyone knew you put someone with COVID among especially the elderly in a confined quarters, it was going to spread like wildfire. And why didn't they stop it? Florida, by the way, did not make that mistake. The governor there specifically ordered hospitals in March, keep those patients in the hospital, don't put them in nursing homes. What a contrast to murderous New York.
I want you to stay with us, Steve, for a moment. There's another issue in New York today that people are talking about. That's the return to the indoor dining in New York City. Restaurants allowed to open up and seat people indoors. Just a 25% capacity, which some owners will say is just not enough for them. But Fox's Aisha Hasni is covering the story and joins us now with more. Aisha.
Hey, Connell, that's right. I've been talking with restaurant owners in the last 24 hours, and they do say, look, we're excited. This is great news, welcome news. This is what we wanted, but they're not satisfied completely in the same breath that they're saying, look, we need 50% at least capacity to try to earn a living. And here's why. This owner, Jose Cho of Flor de Mayo, says 25% only gives his staff 2 to 3 days of work a week, but 50% could bring them back to full time. That's a big deal. And Jeremy Vladis, owner of Good Enough to Eat, says at 25%, he's actually going to lose money, Connell, after paying his team and the cost of food and beverage. But at 50%, he could start paying off some of his bills. In the end, though, both say it really is less about their restaurants and more about their workers.
25% is so little, it's not enough. For myself, but more importantly for the people who work here, it's not enough for them to make enough to live, to support their families and themselves.
We are not the reason why the COVID has been spreading, right? They already studied everything that I heard from the governor said that, our infection rate is very low.
Yeah, you're going to hear that a lot from the owners around here. Just last week, 70 bars and restaurants filed for an emergency injunction to reopen at 50% now. It's part of an ongoing lawsuit against Governor Andrew Cuomo, the state, Mayor Bill de Blasio, and the city. And by the way, today, Governor Cuomo said because the infection rate in the city is going down, he's going to allow bars and restaurants to stay open till 11 p.m. now, starting on Sunday. So a little bit of more good news today. Back to you, Connell.
Right. For Valentine's Day, they did it a few days earlier, I guess. Maybe that helps a little. But as you say, Aisha, probably not enough for a lot of these guys that own restaurants. Yeah. Thank you. Steve Forbes still with us. Your view on this, Steve, the idea that it's better than nothing, but boy, still probably not enough, right?
Well, it just shows the capriciousness of the decision-making by these politicians. A few weeks ago, I had the mayor of New York saying it's safe to travel the subways. Guess what? That's where you're very close often to people in the subway. So if it's good enough for subways, why not restaurants? Most of which have put in new systems to circulate the air better. They're all wearing masks. So why not 50 or 75%? It's just absolutely arbitrary. There's no science behind it. As one of those gentlemen said in your previous interview, they have no real science to back it up. It's just capricious. You see it in California and other areas, and it just goes to show our founders were right. You can't trust these politicians on basing things on fact. You have to hold them accountable, because otherwise they'll just act like little dictators making decisions that have no basis in real life fact.
Well, while we're talking about New York, Steve, the New York Post had this report that the state will end up getting, if it passes, they'll end up getting $50 billion out of the $1.9 trillion relief bill. So if it works through Congress, New York gets $50 billion. Your thoughts on that part of it?
Well, what can you say? A state mismanages its finances, mismanages the vaccines, mismanages the nursing homes, mismanages the whole fiscal situation for years, taxing people so much they have to leave the state by the hundreds of thousands. And guess what? You'll get a reward, tens of billions of dollars to cover you up. Well, it's a huge waste of money. The productive part of the country, especially red states, which did not go in for this binge of unnecessary lockdowns, they're prospering. New York's unemployment rate is one of the highest, if not the highest in the nation. And so they get rewarded for bad management and wrecking businesses and sending hundreds of thousands of people fleeing to other states. It makes no sense, and it's going to backfire on them. And by the way, $50 billion will get them through for 2 or 3 years, and then they'll be in the same boat again because they just can't do it right. This crowd can't do it right.
You know what's interesting as a final thought on this is this does show, whether people agree with you or they take the other side of that issue about whether New York deserves the money, it does show the consequence of elections, right? And why Georgia, for example, was so important. If the Republicans kept control of the Senate, you couldn't imagine something like this passing in terms of, because this local, state local money is what they're most against.
Yeah, that's why the Republicans made a huge mistake in Georgia, not focusing totally not on the previous election, but totally on what the consequences of Democratic control would be in the Senate, and we're seeing it now. And hopefully maybe the senator from Arizona, Sinema, or maybe Joe Manchin will put a stop to it, but it doesn't look good right now. Huge waste of money, going to hurt the economy, not help it, and New York will continue its bad habits that is wrecking this once empire state.
Now, the name, you can't use that moniker anymore. Boy, that's sad. Steve, thank you.
That's right.
What a mess. Steve Forbes.
Forgive me. The Roman, whatever it is, empire, whatever. Tenpire, I don't know.
Got to come up with something new. Steve Forbes with us. Have a great weekend, Steve.